Before we get into the rest of today's video, I'd like to thank the sponsor, which is Parade. Now, I have literally struggled to find comfortable bras for years, literally since I started wearing them at the ripe age of 13. And I literally wear a bra every single day, so why not make it comfortable? And that's where Parade comes in. All the bras I have from them are so comfortable, and the material is like so soft and stretchy, and it's not digging into my skin like a lot of my other bras do. There's also no underwire, but I still feel supported, which I don't know what kind of voodoo magic they put in their bras, but it's working. Especially because I feel like a lot of the bras that I wear without underwire don't have support, but I'm literally wearing one right now, and I feel so supported. And they're also really flattering on me, really cute, and sustainable, which we love. I have so many favorites that I wear from them on the daily, but my favorite from them is the Smooth Lift Triangle Bralette. I have it in this black color, which is called 8 Ball on their website, but I will be purchasing in more colors soon. There's no underwire with this bra, and there's also no clasps. This is also in their seamless universal fabric, which is nice because it doesn't look like I'm wearing a bra, but I get the support that I need. If you're wanting some new bras that are actually comfortable and you look good in and feel good in, you can use my code KW40 for 40% off the entire Parade website. I will say you might want to act fast just because they do end up selling out very quickly, especially if you want certain styles and colors. And there's also no minimum purchase, so you can buy one bra just to try it out, or you can buy a whole new bra wardrobe. I'll have all the links to Parade and my discount code down below to make it easy for you guys to shop. Thank you to Parade for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back into the vlog. Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you're here. I've seen quite a few of my favorite creators do this recently, and I feel like it would be a good idea and hopefully be able to get me out of this little book slump that I'm in currently. So all we're going to be doing in this video is we're going to be mood reading, which is honestly just really nice. I can just pick up a book that I'm wanting to read if I'm not feeling a certain book. Even if it's on the TBR or whatever, I can just choose a book that I'm specifically in the mood to read in that moment. And I know that that might seem kind of silly to you. You guys are probably like, Katie, maybe just do that anyways. And the thing is, a lot of the times whenever I'm filming for videos or trying to stick to my TBR or whatever, it kind of feels like I have to read certain books over other books that I actually like really want to read. And I'm gonna stop doing that because I think that regarding slumps especially, that's not working currently. So yeah, we're gonna be mood reading. I've already started the first book that we're gonna be reading in today's video, which is Reckless by Elsie Silver. This is in the Chestnut Spring series. It is the 4th book in that series, and they're all interconnected standalone cowboy romances. They're also all dual POV, and this one specifically follows Theo and Winter. Theo is like this next up-and-coming bull rider. If you guys know anything about the series, you'll know that Flawless, the first one, follows Rhett, who's a bull rider, and Rhett is kind of like Theo's mentor in a way. And the first one, Flawless, Summer is the girl main character of that book, and Winter is actually Summer's sister. I think the main reason why I decided to pick this one up is just because Elsie Silver's writing is so fast-paced, just so easy to fly through, just so bingeable too. And I felt like since I am feeling slumpy, this would be a good first book to kind of like start it off with a bang. And I'm currently on page 78, so we already kind of have a little bit of the story, a little bit of the backstory, and I know like the main plot of what's going to be happening in this book, and I am really enjoying it. Elsie Silver's writing is still doing what it always does for me. It's just super easy to go through and read and binge. But I will say at the point I'm at right now, I'm kind of confused, but it also makes sense, I guess, because we still have like 300 more pages of plot to get through. So I don't know, I'm really interested to see where this is gonna go. I think Luke and I are just gonna go chill on our porch, kind of like get some sun in, because as you can see, I'm a very pale girly, and even though I keep trying, I go to the pool, I do stuff outside, you know, there's only so much that I can do. But we're gonna go try today and just chill, and I'm gonna read Reckless by Elsie Silver. I love Theo Silva. I love him. Like, honestly, what a man. What a man, what a man, what a mighty good man. Hold up, I don't really know if I like explained this book or what it is about. I know I said they're cowboy romances, and this is the first one in the series, and we're following Theo and Winter. And I don't want to give anything away because if you go in blind, it's just gonna be so much better and like so surprising. And I feel like there's a trope in here that a lot of people don't love, and it's not their favorite. But if you go in blind, I think you're gonna end up loving the book even more, even though if you might not like the trope, I think you would just enjoy it. So trust me on that. that. Obviously I'm not done with it yet, but the way everything is happening and like unfurling, is unfurling a word? The way everything is like revealing itself, it's just so good. These are very character based, and I feel like a lot of the time in character based books, sometimes I get like a little bored whenever there's not a lot of plot, but I don't know, I just never feel that way with these books, just because Elsie Silver's writing is so fast paced and just so bingeable. Like, these books are also on Kindle Unlimited, so I sat here early this morning and just like read for a little bit on my phone while I was laying down, just because it's more comfortable that way sometimes than reading the physical book. And I was just sitting there reading chapter after chapter, like I just couldn't stop. And then I looked up, and then it was like an hour later, I was like, oh, like I feel like I didn't even like read for that long. And as I've been saying, I've been feeling slumpy, and I swear, like I read one of her books and I don't feel slumpy. I want to read. I want to sit down for hours. And I feel like for me, when I am feeling slumpy, I can read like a chapter or two here and there. I'll be like, oh, that's good. But like, I'm not really like gravitating towards my books. Like, I'm not really like wanting to read. Like, I'm like, I should be reading, but I just don't, and I don't really want to. But with this one, like I literally just want to sit all day and binge this book. Theo is literally like melting my heart, the way that he cares so much for Winter and is just like doing all these things for her. Like, he is definitely an acts of service man. Like, his words will match up with his actions. Like, you know the saying, actions speak louder than words? Theo is literally who that saying was made about. And Winter is just like your classic like misunderstood female main character. I feel like she has this very like hard and icy exterior, but she's been through so much, and she just truly needed somebody that would be patient with her and who would look past that icy exterior that she puts off with everybody to almost like protect herself, because she doesn't want to fall into a trap. She feels like she's unlovable. She feels like all these people leave her, and she's always just been Miss Independent because she feels like she can't trust anybody. But then Mr. Theo Silva walks in the door and just like everything kind of changes for her. And the way that he just like steps in and like, oh my gosh, I just read this scene where he like made like appointments for her and like some things she's been wanting to doing, which she can't do because like she's been like really busy. So he makes these appointments for her and makes plans for her day where she gets to hang out with her friend, do her nails, get a massage, have lunch, and just have like a super nice time. And then she comes back and he's like clean and organize everything in her house. Like, I just think that is so like sweet. Like, nobody asked him to do it. They're not even like fully together. Like, they're just almost like circumstantially together, but he just cares so much about her and like wants her, and he has not once faltered. He's always wanted her, even whenever there's other women who have come into the picture, because yeah, he is like a bull rider and whatever. There are a lot of girls who like really want to be with him, and he used to be like a playboy back in the day, but he doesn't really do that anymore. And even then, whenever other women are giving him attention, he only wants her. He only has eyes for her, and I love him. Like, I literally love him. This one might end up being my favorite in the series. I think currently it's Heartless with Kate and Willa, but I think that whenever you get later into a series, you get all of the characters together, like in their little couples and stuff like that, and seeing all of the characters in this one like interacting so much, because we're in Chestnut Springs and everybody's in Chestnut Springs. I'm just enjoying it so much. Like, I just love the little town and the whole family vibe. Like, it's so cute. Oh my gosh. You've got to be kidding me. Guys, I love Theo Silva. There was like a confrontation moment in here that I've kind of been waiting on, to be completely honest, and I had a feeling would happen just because it kind of adds to the spice and the drama of the book and like the character development and stuff, and it's kind of like a loose end that we need tied up in a lot of the character stories in this book and in this series in general. And it kind of like gave, and it kind of delivered, and there was honestly like two of them, like two confrontational moments with a lot of different characters and like groups of characters. And the way that Theo like stands up for Winter, even though that she is an independent woman, like she doesn't really need anybody to stand up for her, but the fact that he does it and like pulls through and goes above and beyond for her literally is gonna get me every single time. Like, I love this man. And even with like a character-based book, it takes a lot for me to like stay super interested in it, but I just love them. I think they're so cute, and I'm just really enjoying this. This is just so cute and wholesome. I love it. Okay, I am done with Reckless, and to be completely honest, this was exactly what I needed. I love Winter's character. I related to her so much on like such a deep level. I feel like she's just been through so much like hurt and like people not really caring about her the way that they should care about her, so she feels like she doesn't deserve to be loved. And I feel like she overanalyzes like every social situation that she's in with people who love her so much, and she's like, why do you love me? Because she's not like used to being loved too. So the people that do love her, she's like why do you love me? Like, I'm not lovable. And it's just so interesting, and I really enjoyed her character. And I love Theo, the way he treated her. He is the king of Access Surface, the king of if he wanted to, he would. The second that the situation became real with them, he was right there. And even before then, in his point of view, he was right there too. Winter just didn't even know it, because obviously she can't be in his point of view. But there was also a part of Theo that didn't really feel good enough for Winter, and he was really trying to work on himself in order to, I guess, kind of like earn her favor, or I guess for himself to feel worthy of her, which I thought was just like so precious of him. Like, at the same time, he just cared about her so much that he was like, I'm not worthy of her. Like, she's amazing. Like, she's Winter Hamilton, and I'm just like little Theo Silva. And then I'm like, Theo, like, you're amazing and incredible. Like, why do you not see that? And I feel like the found family and all of these books just gets me. And honestly, this book kind of took me out of my reading slump. And I say this every time whenever I read an Elsie Silver book, but her writing is just so fast-paced, so easy to read and understand and like get into, that I just like eat it up. Like, I just cannot stop reading her writing, and I am nervous for the day whenever I do not have another Elsie Silver book to read. If you have seen not just Chestnut Springs, but any Elsie Silver book talked about on Book Talk, BookTube, Bookstagram, anything like that, anywhere, and you've been like, I don't know if that's for me, or I don't know if I'll like that, anything like that, please just give it a chance, because I'm telling you, these are some of my favorite romance books that I've like genuinely ever read. Now, right after this book, I actually took quite a bit of time off from this reading vlog, and I started Kingdom of Ash. That's gonna be in a totally different reading vlog, but that was just kind of like what the mood I was in was for, which was a fantasy, specifically finishing the Throne of Glass series. And I'm really excited for that vlog to come out. That vlog actually might be out before this one, so if it is, go ahead and check it out. And you guys briefly saw this at the end of like the Reckless clips that I just showed, but while I was reading Kingdom of Ash, when I didn't want to read Kingdom of Ash because it was heavy or I wanted to read before bed or anything like that, I ended up picking up Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. This is her most recent release. I can't remember when it came out. It was either June or May. I honestly can't remember, but I'm a big Ali Hazelwood girly. I have literally all of her books right here besides her little novellas that she has, but I've listened to all of those, so I've read everything else she's come out with, and I've really enjoyed all of her books. Even if they're not like my most favorite, I just feel like she has kind of a similar thing that Elsie Silver has, just very bingeable writing. It's very fun and quirky and just like silly, and I love that she takes women in STEM and writes romance books about them, because I feel like it's nice to see and proves that like women can be more than just one thing, and I just really do love that about her books. And again, I enjoy her writing a lot, so I was really excited whenever I picked this one up. I am a little bit of the way through, and so far I am enjoying this one. This one is actually dual POV, which is Ali Hazelwood's first dual POV book, and whenever I figured that out, I was so excited. I've said a lot on my channel that I feel like almost any romance book should be dual POV, because like I want the guy's perspective, because I feel like it's normally in the girl's perspective. Like, I love knowing the inside thoughts of the guy and like how they're feeling, and like I feel like it adds a lot to the story and like a lot to the plot and stuff like that too. So I was really excited for this one. So we're basically following Rue and Eli, and I was a little confused whenever I read up on this one, because I literally just could not figure out what it was about. I was like, huh? But in very simple terms, basically we're in the STEM world again, and Rue works for this company and is friends with the person that like owns the company, so she's like very invested in the company. She believes in the company. This is where she's gonna do like all of her big work as a biotech engineer, but there's a lot of things behind the scenes that Rue doesn't really understand. So enter Eli. He and his friends have this business called Harkness, where they basically like buy other businesses or like buy almost stock in other businesses, and that's why Eli is there at the business that Rue works at, which is called Klein. So Harkness is trying to take over Klein. It's honestly explained really well in the book, so if I'm confusing you, don't worry if you want to read this book, because you'll understand it completely fine. And they actually end up meeting each other at a bar for one reason or another. The night before, they actually figure out who they are and like who their allegiances lie with. I'm not trying to make it sound like super intense, but it kind of is that way a little bit. Like, obviously Rue needs to back her friend and her friend's business and the business that she's been working for for so long, and Eli is obviously like a higher up in his business, so it kind of is serious, but also like not really. Another thing I will say about this book is that Miss Allie Hazelwood literally wrote a note to the readers in the front saying that it's like a little different than her work that she's published in the past, so even like different from Bride, and from what I'm about to say, obviously different from Check and Mate, her YA debut, but also different from just the general STEMness romances that she's published in the past. So she says that this is less of a rom-com and more of an erotic romance, which I have never read any erotica, and I don't know if I would be into that. I guess I will know eventually whenever I finish this book and like my thoughts on it. Right now, I'm really enjoying it. I don't feel like there's anything crazy out of the ordinary. I feel like it is a little less quirky than a lot of other Allie Hazelwood's books, which honestly sometimes I think she overdoes it a little bit for me, and it can be like a little bit cringy, but I still eat them up and I still love her books so much. So I feel like this one honestly has like just enough quirk sprinkled in to where I'm like rooting for it, and I'm really enjoying it, and I am rooting for the characters and enjoying them a lot, but I'm not like haha like silly little rom-com, you know. Like I feel like they have real struggles and a lot of real stuff going on, not that the other books didn't with their characters, but this book more so. As where the erotica stands, there's only been one scene so far, and I've read about 150-ish pages, so I don't know how much more there will be. I don't know if there's going to be just that for the rest of the book. I really have no idea, and a lot of people have said that their reviews have been mixed on this one, just because again she already said it was totally different from a lot of her other work. So I don't really know. I'm interested to see where this goes, if it takes a turn, or even just like what we're doing at this point. Like I'm interested to see where the plot goes, or at this point if we're not really getting any more plot and we're just kind of doing the other stuff that happens in romance books. So I guess we will just have to wait and see, and yeah, I'm excited to continue reading. I'm kind of confused with how I feel about this book currently. I know I already explained like everything that's been going on and like the basic plot structure and stuff like that, but Eli, the guy in this book, literally worships the ground that Rue walks on. And since their relationship falls more into the benefits column than like just a regular relationship column, it's interesting to me how in his POV we just get so much thought about not just how he feels like in a lusty way for her, and I guess this part can be a little lusty too sometimes, but like he loves like who she is as a person, and like the more he gets to know her, the more into her she becomes and stuff like that. But it did start out as a physical attraction. Like he literally worships the ground that she walks on. Like he is so, he's down bad crying at the gym, okay, as Miss Taylor would say. And he's already been called a simp, and again, they're not even in like a relationship, they're just doing the benefits. I will say too, I think because I knew, and there was the author's note that I talked about too, and a lot of other people talked about it in their reviews that I've watched, that this has a different tone and it's more like erotica than what she normally writes, and it's not as similar to other rom-coms. I'm glad that I was prepped for that, because honestly, I thought there was going to be a lot more of the benefits scenes than there is. Like there still is quite a bit, but it's honestly like it's not overwhelming, and I also find that I'm really enjoying the characters and the plot and the dynamic, I guess, and I feel like every time we get into that I'm really interested and I don't really want to put the book down. I think whereas the spicy parts go, you guys know that I'm more of like a tension over spice person, but for some reason in this book I think there is quite a bit of tension, and I like how we get Eli's perspective too, so I feel like I am enjoying that. That could just be like thing I'm in the mood for right now though. I'm not really sure. Like if I read this book 2 weeks ago or 2 weeks from now, I could have a totally different perspective on that too, but right now like I'm enjoying it. It is a little bit more graphic than I enjoy. Like this is definitely not a 5-star by any means. I think I'm thinking it's more of like in the 4-star range right now, and I guess we'll have to see too later in the book how it goes along, because I still do have quite a bit left of the book, and obviously my thoughts and stuff where the spice is concerned could change, but overall I'm enjoying it. I feel like Allie Hazelwood is just one of those writers for me that I could just read her writing and not get bored, and it's just incredibly entertaining, and I'm really enjoying her writing in this one specifically. I enjoyed Bride, which was the last book I read from her, and I know that was like a paranormal romance, so it was a little bit different, but this one is bringing back how I felt about all of her other books, and I don't know, something about an Allie Hazelwood STEM romance is gonna hit like every every time. Okay, the thing that I don't like whenever there's spice in books kind of just happened, but I'm almost like 300 pages and I think there's only like 370 pages, so I'm kind of like a little bit disappointed that that's happening like now, and I've been enjoying it so much thus far. And it's just basically whenever spice is there and it does nothing for the plot and it's just there, and for what? And it's like really, really random and super unnecessary. Like I just like during that scene, it was just so unnecessary. Like, why did that need to happen? Especially because I was really interested in like the plot of this moment, and then there was like lead up to it and stuff like that, and the character was talking about it a lot and like how nervous they were for it, and then they like, you know, have a spicy moment, and then they just keep like talking, interacting like nothing had happened, and like the tension of the moment was still there, and I feel like spice just made it so unserious. I don't know, that's actually so disappointing. Okay, I just got ready to film a sit-down video, but I wanted to go ahead and check in with you guys because I did end up finishing Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood last night, and as you guys saw, I think progressively as I went through, because I was prepped with the author's note about it being more erotica and being more spicy than what she normally writes, I think that I was prepped for that in a way. So I think that like 75% through, really enjoying it. I was really loving it. Maybe more like 60% through, I was really enjoying it, but then once we kept going, I wasn't enjoying it as much, which led me to be really disappointed because I thought the plot was really interesting. I really liked the characters and the way that they cared for each other and stuff like that, but whenever we got to the end, it just kind of felt like, did I just say feel like? I'm sorry. Felt like things just didn't really mesh or match up. It kind of felt like she wanted to do a classic romance book ending like she would have done with one of her other books, whenever this book just didn't really fall into that category for me. I did like the characters a lot and I did like the storyline. I just felt like, again, like I already said, whenever you have spice in a book, whenever the spice overtakes the plot, it's just a no for me. And like the last, I think 70-ish pages of the book, I was just kind of like bored, which is so disappointing because I was feeling really good after Reckless, and I was like zooming through like the beginning of this book. So I don't know, I'm really gonna have to think hard on my rating for this one. So now, because I'm feeling slumpy again, and that's the problem with book slumps, is that when you get into a book slump, you can think that you're out of it just by reading like one great book where you have like great reactions to it and stuff like that, and then if the next book doesn't hit, you're like out of luck. Like that's kind of it for you. So last night I was just kind of thinking what I was in the mood for, so I picked up Carval by Stephanie Garber. I wanted to read this for a while because it's the series or the trilogy that comes before Once Upon a Broken Heart, and I just haven't read these yet, and I love Stephanie Garber's writing. So I was like, oh, okay, like I'll just pick this up really quick. I read like 7 pages, and now today I'm kind of like, I don't think I want to read that. So I'm not going to read that, and instead we're going to pick between these two. I have no idea what I want to do. We have Killer Instincts by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, the second book in the Natural series. This is a mystery. I've been really excited to read this, and I feel like sometimes whenever I am feeling slumpy, if I read something like super fast paced and fun like a mystery, it always just helps me because I don't read mysteries as often. So switching up my genre normally helps me quite a bit. And then I also have The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston, which I have been wanting to read for a while, but I'm so nervous that I'm going to pick the wrong time to read it because I really just feel like it's gonna be a 5-star for some reason. I actually ended up reading like the first few pages of this a little while ago, but then just never ended up picking it up because I think I was reading for a different video or something like that, and this book just didn't fall into that. So I have no idea what I want to read next. Very opposite vibes, obviously enough, but these are both on my TBR for the month, so I'm gonna get to them this month anyways. And I could also read both of these in a different reading vlog that I'm also filming this month, so it's truly not the end of the world if I pick one or the other and don't like the one I pick or anything like that, just because I'm gonna end up reading both of these anyways quite soon. But yeah, I don't know, I guess I will update you guys and you guys will see me reading which one I inevitably end up choosing. Okay, as you guys saw, I chose to read The 7-Year Slip, and I'm honestly like really glad I did. I feel like I'm very in the mood for this, and I'm really enjoying it. This is by the same author, Ashley Poston, who wrote The Dead Romantics that came out like 2 years ago. I read it last year and I really enjoyed it. I rated it like a 4.75, and I just like absolutely ate up the writing and the story, but it wasn't really quite a 5-star for me. So I've had a lot of high hopes for this. She also just had a recent release, a novel love story, which I'm also very excited to read, but obviously I wanted to read this first. And I've heard nothing but amazing things about this one. In this book, we are following Clementine, and basically she has a passing in her family, so she's going through a little bit of grief, which I don't know if that's how it is in all of Ashley Poston's books, but there's a big talk about grief in The Dead Romantics as well. But she's very type A, you know, she has everything like planned to a T. She is like a publicist at a book publishing place. I don't know what you call
you
that.
Buffer there.
Yeah, she's a publicist for books. Let's just say that. But for one reason or another, she ends up getting this apartment. She ends up inheriting it. And in this apartment, you can kind of be brought to a different time. So it's like a little bit of time traveling, a little bit of magical realism. And it can take you like 7 years in the past or 7 years in the future, which is kind of cool. And so, I don't know. I don't want to say too much about like exactly what happens, because I feel like that's the whole point of like actually reading the story. And I don't want to give away anything, obviously. But the magical realism in her books is just so interesting. It makes me want to read more books with magical realism in it. I feel like I didn't think I would like that for some reason, but then I read her books and I literally eat it up and love it so much. And I'm really liking Clementine as a character too. I feel like I really relate to her, just with her like planner type A mentality, always having to have everything like together and ready to go and having to be on top of her game. She's a little bit of a workaholic too, which I definitely do be doing that. And the love interest in this too, like the scenes with them, I could just totally, like I could feel the chemistry, which is always a good sign. And I feel like I like them a lot together. Like it's almost like an opposites attract, but not really. Like they just like fit together very well. And I'm at a point in the book where I don't really know what happens. But one thing I do have to say about Ashley Poston is, again, I love her writing so much. I've said that every time I talked about The Dead Romantics, but this just reiterated it even more. I don't know why I waited so long to read this. I think that I just wanted to make sure I was in the right mood before I got into it, because I feel like sometimes whenever you read a book that you think you could really enjoy and you're not really in the mood for it, you're giving it like a disservice. So I'm really glad I waited until now, until I was in the mood for it. But I really, like, I just don't want to put it down. Like I could literally sit here and binge the rest of the book tonight. That's not gonna happen, unfortunately, because I do have work in the morning and I have to go to bed. But the story just got to a really good turning point, and now I'm kind of interested as to what's gonna happen with the plot. I feel like every time I read a romance book too, especially if it's only like singular POV, like we're only following Clementine's POV in this book, and that's so different from even dual POV romance books or fantasy books where you get a lot of different POVs. And I'm finding that the simplicity of this is making it so easy to read. Like I am just like drinking in all the information. I feel like I'm reading this so fast, which is always really nice, but I'm also just I'm eating it up. Okay, I'm eating it up. Obviously, I'm not done with it yet, so I don't know, maybe I won't feel that way as we keep going. I feel like a lot of the romance books specifically that I've read recently, I've like loved like the first half, and then the second half I'm just, you know, like it just keeps going down. I'm just not enjoying it as much, but I don't know, I just don't think that that's gonna happen with her, especially because of how I felt about The Dead Romantics. And I really just don't know where this is gonna go. So I'm really interested to see what happens, and yeah, let's just go ahead and keep on reading. Dare I say, I am loving this book right now, and I just feel so connected to the characters too. And I don't know, I was saying earlier that I really enjoy her writing, but I feel like I didn't really explain why. And I feel like as I've read a little bit since my last update, like I'm slowly realizing why. One of the many reasons why I really enjoy her writing is because she makes things feel so real and realistic, which a lot of my favorite authors do. Abby Jimenez, Emily Henry. That's why I have kind of compared Ashley Poston's writing to her, specifically Emily Henry, in the past, especially in the video that I read The Dead Romantics in, just because they have this way of like making any interaction with any set of characters feel like real people with real stories, with real things to say, and it feels like something you could watch in a movie and just feel so natural. It feels like you could watch people having this interaction on the street. It doesn't feel like somebody wrote it from their mind. Like, it just feels so authentic and genuine and like just real. And I absolutely love that, because I love reading like fictional stories, obviously, but fictional stories about people that feel real and realistic. I mean, sometimes I do just love like a silly little rom-com, but I feel like a book like this is like my perfect mashup of cutesy fun while also relating to the characters, while also it not being too serious, while also just being real. Like like I just love the realistic elements that she puts into her writing. And I feel like all of her characters are very like multi-dimensional too, which makes them feel so much more real. Like, they're not really put in a box where the main character is like, I'm quirky, I have this one hobby and this one thing about me that I enjoy doing, and that's all there is to know about me. And then other than that, they just like don't have anything else going on. But I feel like Clementine has so much depth to her as a main character. And another thing I love about her writing is that it's also so atmospheric. So not only are you getting the realistic dialogue and stuff like that, but she explains everything in a way where I can picture it perfectly in my head, and it's almost like all 5 of my senses are included in that. Like, I can feel like the vibe of the area that we're in, I can like smell the smells because she describes it, I can see the sights, like all of that kind of stuff. Like, it just makes sense. And I feel like the biggest one is I can really like feel and resonate with how Clementine feels in like the moments that she's in, and I just love how dynamic and complex this character is. And you would think for a character named Clementine that it wouldn't be like that. I am just absolutely eating this up and loving it. Okay, it's been quite a few days since I finished The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston, but I love this book so much. This book basically tells the classic story of right person, wrong time, but it tells it in a way that feels so like heartbreaking, that just really pulls on your heartstrings. And I found myself just really feeling for these characters even when I was only a few hundred pages in, especially because you kind of know what's going to happen to them, because there is a little bit of foreshadowing at the beginning, and there's also just so many things in this book that call back to other moments that were super important. And I was like, oh, I hope she brings this in. And even though there were moments like that, I still ate it up and loved it every time she brought it up. The talk about grief in this book was so beautiful too. I will say, check trigger warnings. There is something that happens in this book that could be triggering for some people, and when that part came up, oh my gosh, did my heart just like break in two. I really love these characters so much. I love this book. I love it. This book made me feel so many things, and I'm so glad I waited to read this book until now, until I was in the mood for it. Hence the mood reading vlog literally coming through, because if I wasn't in the mood for this, it probably wouldn't have hit as hard, to be completely honest. Like, this just proves whenever you're in the mood to read a book, you should just read that book. And I need to take my own advice. But I really did enjoy this. If you could get one book out of this video, I highly recommend this book. Okay, let's go ahead and do a quick little reading wrap up of all the books that I finished in this video. Starting out with Reckless by Elsie Silver. I really enjoyed this book. I think this is my new favorite from the Chestnut Spring series. I just related to so much to Winter as a character, and I thought that her and Theo's chemistry was just off the charts. And Theo Silva, the man that you are literally an acts of service king. I love you to bits. You're everything to me, and safe to say, I love him so much. And the way that they grew as a couple and just came together, like, a lot of the times I don't like character-based books, but these characters, like, they made me love them. I love this book so much. I think I'm gonna rate it a 4.5-ish. I'm not too sure. Maybe a 4.75 if I keep thinking about it more. So we'll have to wait and see. Next up, we have Not in Love by Miss Ali Hazelwood. And I found myself enjoying this a lot more than a lot of other people did, I think, just because I knew that the tone was a little bit different. I really enjoyed the plot, and I liked the characters, and I actually didn't mind a lot of the extra stuff that was going on, but I thought the plot was so interesting, and I was just, I don't know, I'm kind of conflicted with this one, and I feel like the ending for the plot just wasn't very satisfying for me for some reason. I think I'm gonna stick with like a 3.5 for this. I did enjoy this a lot more than I thought I was going to, because you guys know I'm a spice over tension girly any day, but I think because I knew it was gonna be different and I knew what I was expecting going into the book, it was just a different experience for me. So 3.5. And then we ended off with The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I love her writing so much. Magical realism is my new favorite thing in books, and she just does it in a way that's so unique and makes it feel so different from other romance books just because she adds so many fun elements in, and I love her writing so much. I've already gushed about this book so much, so I'm only gonna say the rating, which I think is in between a 4.75 or possibly a 5 if I keep thinking about it more. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up down below, and go ahead and comment down below if you guys have any thoughts on these books that I read in the video. And if you watched until this far in the video, go ahead and comment down below the tree emoji so I know who the real ones are who watched till the very end. If you want to keep up with me on the daily, go ahead and follow me on all my socials, Instagram, TikTok, Goodreads, especially if you want to keep up with what I'm reading in real time. They'll all be linked down below. Thank you again to Parade for sponsoring this video, and yeah, I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys. Another thing about this book is that not Emily Henry, what? Ugh. Luke's reading, so proud. Luke! So connected to character. Bleh. Comment that, so go ahead and comment down that. Blah, 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 blah.
Stellar.
Sure, yeah. What are you doing? I'm eating it.